Today is a great, wonderful, amazing, incredible day, and I'll tell you why. Because it's a Dutch day, but not just a Dutch day, guys. No, it's a Dutch culture day. 10 Dutch culture shocks in the Netherlands. Without further ado, let's get into this reaction. Let's go.
Hey, it's David and welcome back to my channel. Today,
Hello.
let's talk about culture shocks in the Netherlands. A little bit about myself because culture shocks are always relative. I'm originally from California, but I've been studying, living, and working in the Netherlands for the past 3.5.
If he's from California, sorry to cut him off, but if he's from California, he's going to have a lot of culture shocks. I feel like because I'm from England, the culture shocks will be similar to the Americans, but kind of different because I have a different perspective. And also because England is a lot closer to the Netherlands and we probably share a lot of things, but there's definitely going to be cultural differences. So I'm not worried about that. By the way, guys, before we continue, make sure you subscribe. Look how close we are. Look how close we are to 1,000. That is amazing. I'm still blown away. This channel has been going for 3 weeks and you guys are subscribed. That's amazing. This is going to be a big community. Like, I cannot wait. Like, I've got so many videos to come. Thank you so much to everyone who's subscribed. Like, I really appreciate every single one of you. It's awesome. If you haven't subscribed, it's just one button. Just click it. We're like 30, were we 30 or 40 away from 1,000 subscribers? I love that. So yeah, subscribe. Help me get to 1,000. Help us get to 1,000. Okay, let's continue.
Years now. And that's the beautiful thing about culture shocks is that it's part of the experience of living abroad, studying abroad, and these are my experiences and opinions. So let's start with something big. Let's talk about racism in the Netherlands. Yes, racism. The Netherlands, one of the most open, progressive, diverse countries in the world. Yes, there still exists racism. Well, in fact, racism, it's a global thing. Yeah. The thing about racism here, in my opinion, is that while it might seem very blatant and obvious, a form of racism here in the Netherlands, for many Dutch people, they don't see it that way. They don't see the wrong in it. Let me explain.
I hope you explain. You guys don't see the wrong in racism. Is that a sweeping statement? Now, I'm going to let him explain because I'm sure he's got an explanation for this. But just from that statement he's just made, I don't think Dutch people, from the short amount of time I've got to like watch some of these videos and learn about Dutch people and heard Dutch people speak and stuff like that, I don't think you're an unintelligent people. I think you're very switched on and you like to say how you feel, right? So I don't think you're unaware of your if you are racist or there are racist stuff going on. I don't think you're unaware. So maybe he'll explain he doesn't mean that, but yeah, I don't think you're unaware. If there's racism, you guys will know if it happens or not. Let me know in the comment section what you think to that.
Pete is usually portrayed by white people in black face paint, wearing frizzy wigs and red lipstick. Yeah. It is criticized for being racist.
So we can't.
So that festival, I'm kind of delaying doing that video because I'm excited to do that video. It sounds weird as a black person. Why would you be excited to learn about that? I want to figure out the cultural history of that festival. What is it? Why did it start? What is it about? What is it? Like, is it to do with dressing up as a black person? Is it mockery of people with dark skin? Is it that? I don't know. So I'm going to reserve my judgment until I understand it, because too often people jump on things and get annoyed and get angry without actually understanding like a cultural context about something. And it's just, you can't do that. You can't lead with emotion. You can't lead with anger without understanding someone's culture. So we're gonna have a video just on that, just on the, I don't know what the festival's called, but like the putting on dark makeup and the red lips and the curly hair. We will have a conversation about that, and whether it's still happening. I don't know if it's still happening or not, but that's for another video. But I'll let him speak on this.
Talk about racism without talking about the sensitive topic of Zwarte Piet, Black Pete, or blackface. But that was and still is a big cultural shock for me seeing all these black faces during December time. So there's this Dutch tradition where they celebrate Santa Claus. Santa Claus or Saint Nicholas, an elderly white person, comes to town with his little helpers, these Zwarte Piets or Black Petes, and they go around town passing out candy to children.
Okay. Oh, so that's the history of it. Okay. So it's a Christmas tradition. Interesting. I love this, and I love that I've started this channel at this point, because what are we in? August? September, October, November. It's crazy. Christmas is coming so soon. It's so weird because it's so hot at the moment and we're in summer, but summer's really close to winter. Have you ever thought about that? It's really weird that. Anyways, so you've only got like 3 or 4 months. So I will be doing a video specifically on that festival in December because I have to. I have to. If I'm going to do a Dutch channel, we're going to talk about, is it Black Pete or whatever they call, whatever? They hand out candy to children. I don't think it doesn't sound like something insidious or bad, but hey.
And the tradition is that adult and children will paint their faces black, wear wigs, dress up, and paint their lips red to imitate Black Pete. And for me, coming as an outsider, especially from the US, when I first saw a Black Pete, I was just shocked. I knew about it, but seeing it in person was even more shocking. And I know nobody really knows where Black Pete came from. He could come from the slave trade, or he is black because he came down a chimney and the suit made his face black. But the fact is, we live in the 21st century and there's actually a lot of black people living.
I think he said that. What was that? What he just said then?
He is black because he came down a chimney and the suit.
Chimneys do not turn faces black, hair into afro, and lips red. It's true. It's true. You could say that if the curly hair wasn't there and the lips were red. I think it is to portray a black person, an African person.
Made his face black. But the fact is, we live in the 21st century and there
are over 700,000 black Dutch in the Netherlands. Wow, 4 to 5% of the population. I didn't know that. That's quite a lot. That's quite a lot. Yeah, I don't know how I don't think, because you know what, when I was looking at those, like apart from them having curly hair and stuff, like I don't really resonate with having really black skin. My skin's brown. Actually, my skin's chocolate, you know? It's like Cadbury's chocolate. It's chocolate. It's not black. So for me, I'm not offended. It would probably be quite a shock if I just went there and I didn't know anything about it, but I'm not offended. So, yeah. I said I wouldn't speak about this. I said I'd do a different video, but yeah.
Actually, a lot of black people living in the Netherlands. It just seems a bit old-fashioned to see white people, paint their faces black and imitate a Black Pete. And by no means is this the fault of children. Children know nothing about race. They just want candy. They just want to have fun. But it's really a tradition that you have to think about. We live in the 21st century, and imagine yourself as a black person growing up in the Netherlands, and during this Santa Claus time, your friends and people around you are dressed up and they're painting their faces black. How would that feel? I don't know, but it just feels a little bit wrong, especially in a place like the Netherlands. The next thing I want to talk about related to racism relates to me being an Asian person in this country. One thing...
That's what I really want to know. I mean, the tradition is a tradition. It happens every year. Just because it happens doesn't mean it's like directly correlated. It might historically link to racism at the time when the tradition was started, but it doesn't mean that now, today, just because the tradition is still done, it doesn't mean it's blatant, or it's, you know, it's not that people are not doing it on purpose to be racist, if that makes sense. But what I want to know is his experience now, today, as an Asian person. So this will be good.
Is a song that I recently learned about called Hanky Panky Shanghai.
Hanky Panky Shanghai. Hanky.
Wow. I shouldn't laugh, but I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. When was this? I feel like it's not that long ago because the quality is not like terrible. Did they just pull the eyes? Oh, wow. Okay, interesting. Gonna reserve judgment.
Apparently, this song was and is in some schools taught to children, and it's supposed to be a birthday song, but actually it's not about birthdays, and it's a song about, well, a lot of words imitating the Chinese language like hanky, panky, and Shanghai. And I've heard of stories of even kids being taught to pull their eyes back to imitate the chinky eyes. I don't know where this came from, and I don't know why this was taught in the educational system. And I don't know why.
It sounds like you have a lot of cultural traditions stemming from a time where like blatant kind of racism was just kind of rife in all European countries, to be honest. Difference is like those traditions have kind of stayed there because we have them here in England. There's loads of things like the nursery rhyme ba ba black sheep. Have you ba? I don't know if you've heard this nursery rhyme ba ba black sheep. Have you any wool? Yes sir, 3 bags full. That's about someone picking cotton. Do you know what I mean? Like ba ba black sheep. You're the black sheep. He's talking to a black. Anyways, that is a nursery rhyme in the UK. We continued to learn that. Even when I was a kid in school, and I knew nothing about the race aspect of it. I was just like, this is like a nice little nursery rhyme, but it just remained in our culture for years and years and years. And it's only recently in the last maybe decade that they stopped singing that nursery rhyme. So it's whether like, you know, when something's a tradition, do we need to stop doing it just because it has historical ties to racism? Because actually, even though these cultural practices are done today, actually, I think most people don't realize that it could be offensive. It's normally the people taking offense, if that makes sense. Bear with me a second. What I mean is, I'm not sure that a lot of the white people that are doing these these little rhymes and the chinky eyes and all this type of stuff it's computing in their head that this could be offensive to somebody if they don't know someone of that race as well. So yeah, it's a complex topic, this.
Big question. That's the big shock for me. We got some bread. We got some.
I love how he started with racism. It's such a dark thing to start with. He could have, like, no pun intended, a dark thing to start with. I didn't mean that. He could have had that at the end, but yeah, at the start. And now he's on Stuck Shrewd. That doesn't make any sense, but okay, let's roll.
Cheese. We got some bitterballen, mustard, and mayonnaise. This, my friends, is Dutch food. Kidding, but not really kidding.
Mayonnaise.
Dutch culture is not known for
Hellman's mayonnaise is Dutch food. We eat Hellman's mayonnaise all the time. Mayonnaise is just something that everyone eats, no? Did mayonnaise come from the Netherlands? Am I going to learn that mayonnaise came from the Netherlands?
its food. But I was shocked coming to this country, and then not really, because I thought to my past, I had never had Dutch food before in the US or traveling anywhere. And there's probably a reason, because, well, this is Dutch food. It's not bad. I do like bitterballen. There's just not a lot of variety. I remember my first day in this country. I was in Maastricht for university. It was orientation day, and we had free lunches in the cafeteria, sandwiches. So I rushed to the cafeteria. There were bags of lunches on the table. I take my bag and go to my table, and I open up my bag. I look inside, and I see that there's something missing in my sandwich. So I go back to the table with the lady, and I asked her, hey, can I get a new sandwich because there's something missing in mine? And she responded, no, that's your sandwich, that's your lunch. It was a slice of cheese between two slices of bread. Needless to say, I was still hungry after.
You guys like bread and cheese. Bread and cheese. Bread and cheese is very like poverty food. No offense, but it's kind of like bread and cheese is kind of like biblical time food. few loaves and the fishes. It's kind of that, but that's again. So it seems like I'm getting a theme with the Netherlands. I'm getting a theme of traditions from the past not dying, like staying culturally in your culture. Do you know what I mean? In England, we've lost so much of the native population's culture because of all the different races and cultures that have come to Britain. Let's change that. British people have gone to other countries and colonized and taken things back. And because of that, the traditional native culture of Britain is kind of mixed with everything else. But it seems as if in the Netherlands, you guys have kept a lot of your things from the past. So that's why you're still eating bread and cheese. That's my theory. I could be wrong, but I'm just going to roll with that.
Afterwards, so I went to McDonald's, I think, and I got a few burgers. But yeah, Dutch people, Dutch culture, not known for its food. If you work for a Dutch company, oftentimes you'll gather around a table, from what I hear, and people will just eat sandwiches. Oh, just give me a second. I was just scheduling in a lunch 2 months from now, just like a Dutch person would. Because the Dutch, they love
like
to schedule, they love to plan, and they don't...
This is where I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to find it difficult. Like, I am terrible at planning. Or maybe I need a Dutch friend. You know when they say opposites attract? Maybe opposites attract. Oh, maybe I need a Dutch friend. That's what I need. Actually, it's a good thing, actually. Oh, okay, that's fine. I was just thinking, I'm not like that. I'm terrible at planning. But if I have a Dutch friend, if I have you guys, you can keep me in line. But Dwayne, hello. It's Monday. Where's the video? You're supposed to come out at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the evening. Where is it? I don't see it.
Plan only a few days in advance, but they plan months and sometimes years in advance for a lunch, a date, or anything.
Oh my God.
And Dutch people are not very spontaneous, so you almost never show up at someone's house unannounced.
Really?
Now, just a generalization, but in many ways it's true.
No, I like that though. Don't come to my house unannounced. Let me know if you're coming round. Why? I need to be prepared. I need to make sure my house is looking neat. I need to be neat. I've got things to do. That's the only time I like to plan. Don't just come to my house without letting me know. Like, let me know in advance, please. That I agree with
Dutch
that.
people, they love to be efficient, they love to save time, and they love to plan. I remember trying to schedule a lunch with a Dutch friend, and almost every time they bust out their calendars and their agendas and they check, oh, you want to do lunch? Let me check. Oh, I have an opening 2 months from now. Let's do lunch then. And for myself, I think of myself as a planner, but I plan things maybe a few days, a week, a few weeks in advance, not 2 months in advance. And that was a big shock for me. Wow. There was another colleague I was talking to, and he was talking about his holidays, not for this year, but his summer holidays for next year. He had already booked his summer holidays for the next year. And I just found that extremely shocking. But in many ways, it's really nice.
No. When it comes to holidays, like actual holidays, like going on holiday, like getting a plane and going somewhere, yeah, book it the year before. Especially if you want to do international. So say if I wanted to go to the Caribbean or something, I would book that the year before. Why? Because then I can pay in installments. I can, save money up. I get that. That's fine. I'm with
because they're very organized, they love planning, but not so nice when you want to do things spontaneously. Dutch directness. The Dutch are some of the most direct people in the world, but
so I've heard.
Don't confuse directness with rudeness. They're completely different things. You can find rude people from all over the world, but the Dutch, they just want to be honest and say what's on their minds. If you look at Erin Meyer's cultural scales, she's done years and years of research into cultural differences, and there's this low context and high context communication scale. And low context cultures like the US, Canada, and the Netherlands, they prefer precise
Okay, this is interesting. I'm just looking at this So low context. Good communication is precise, simple, and clear. Messages are expressed and understood at face value. Repetition is appreciated if it helps clarify the communication. High context. Good communication is sophisticated, nuanced, and layered. Messages are both spoken and read between the lines. Messages are often implied but not plainly expressed. So the US, the Netherlands, Australia, Germany and Canada are low context. So it's precise, simple, and clear. And we're somewhere like there with Denmark and Finland. Huh. Okay. No, okay.
Direct communication. High context cultures like Asian countries, African countries, many Latin American countries, it's really about knowing the context, and they tend to be more indirect. So there's also this other scale called the negative feedback scale, and this is where the Dutch are the most direct, even when it comes to negative feedback. And this is where Americans differ.
Indirect negative feedback. Thailand, absolutely. I agree with this scale. I used to live in Thailand. Guys, I don't know if any of you have been to Thailand, but as Dutch people, you might be the Antichrist. You are opposite. You know how you're direct and to the point? Oh my God. As a British person who is in the middle, even for me, it was too much. They do not tell you how they feel. They will smile in your face and not tell you how you feel, because that's just how they communicate. That's how they just keep things in, and then they will if there's any Thai people, don't take offense. They will lie to save face. So they will tell you one thing, or tell you a lie, just not to disappoint you. I know it doesn't make any sense. They will tell you a lie to not disappoint you, to save face. It's culturally, it's just like, what? Just tell me you don't know, but they won't tell you that they don't know. They'll tell you a lie instead. Anyways, yeah. But we're in the middle, which is interesting. We're in the middle when it comes to that. I agree, because in the UK we're direct. We will if you're doing something wrong, we will tell you. Like we don't like that. Like if you're being annoying, we're queuing to go into queuing for the till to pay for something. If someone jumps the queue, we're going to be very angry and we might say something. Not necessarily will say something, but you will get a lot of disapproving looks, and it's like, you don't do that. Whereas I reckon in the Netherlands, someone will just tell you, you don't do that. You can't do that. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, US is in the middle as well. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Yeah. This is quite accurate.
The Dutch. Americans are very direct when it comes to low context communication, but when it comes to criticism, Americans are not so direct.
Yeah.
This is probably where the Dutch get that reputation of being harsh. It's because they're honest.
One more thing. Israel, I've heard Israelis can come across rude. It's not rude, it's obviously they're direct. Germany as well, the Netherlands obviously, and Russia. Yeah, Russians are very direct.
Get that reputation of being harsh. It's because they're honest. If it's negative feedback or positive feedback, it doesn't matter. They're extremely honest. So don't confuse rudeness with directness. The Dutch people, I find them extremely friendly, but they will say what's on their minds, positive or negative. Housing is a nightmare. It's stressful.
Really?
That was a big shock for me coming to this country. I didn't understand or know how competitive it was to find a place here. Even if you have money, it's still competitive.
Wow.
Whether you're a student, a full-time worker, whether you're renting or buying, it's going to be really hard to find a place to live in this country, especially in Amsterdam. Because once a listing goes live, you only have a few hours to respond to get a viewing. And if you get that viewing,
You only get a few hours to respond. Is it because they go so quickly? And is he talking about Amsterdam or is he talking about other places in the Netherlands? I think he's talking about Amsterdam because I think it's the same in London. Things go very, very quickly, and if you don't jump on it, it disappears.
you have to take time out of your day. It's usually one day and maybe 20 minutes or 1 hour. And if you don't go, then you miss the viewing and you don't get the place. And especially if you have a full-time job, it's really hard to take time out of your day to go to a viewing the next day. So I've never seen a market this competitive, and I come from San Francisco where it's extremely expensive. There's just not enough supply for the high demand here. So yeah, be on the lookout for that because I'm currently looking for a 1-bedroom and I'm pretty stressed out. So just be aware that if you want to find a place to live, it's going to take a lot of time, a lot of effort, and
a lot of planning, which Dutch are really good at. So no wonder you can't find a place.
a lot of resilience. So if you decide to rent, you might come across an apartment that's completely furnished, nice. You might come across an apartment that is not furnished but has floors. But you also might come across many apartments that have nothing at all, not even floors. It's called the shell. And that was a big shock for me coming to this country and going to viewings that you had to buy your own floors and install your own floors. And the thing about that is it takes time and it takes some money to buy the floors. It might not cost a lot less than 1,000 euros from IKEA.
You buy the floors, and then what do you do with the floors when you leave? Do you take the floors up and move your floors? It's a bit weird.
But the time it takes to install the floors, you might pay someone a few thousand euros to install the floors too. And when you leave, you either have to take your floors with you or you sell your floors to the next tenant. So I don't know how I feel about that, but yeah, I never experienced that before. Definitely a shock. So when you go rent, be prepared to rent an apartment with no floors where you have to buy your own floors.
That's not efficient. I'm sorry. That's like very inefficient. You're supposed to be efficient. I don't know. That's just, I've never heard of that before. Like in the UK, you either get an apartment furnished or unfurnished. And when it's furnished, obviously you get your bed, you get every sofa and all that sort of stuff. But when it's unfurnished, you have floors. You just don't have a bed and a sofa and chairs and stuff like that. But you have floors. You might even have carpet, but no floors? Wow.
And install your own floors. So yes, when you come to the Netherlands, you might see the canals, the architecture. You also see big windows, big open windows without curtains. And that was a big shock for me when I first came here. And I was walking along the canals. And then I saw inside the windows what families were doing. People working, people reading. And that's the shock for me because there seems to be no privacy at all. But when you dig a bit deeper, it's tied to their culture. And it goes back to Calvinism, which...
Wait, what? You culturally, you like to voyeur into other people's lives? You don't put... Like, I've got curtains down right now, and it's daytime. So you... Okay.
Deeper, it's tied to their culture. And it goes back to Calvinism, which basically says if you are an honest person, you have nothing to hide. So these open windows show that Dutch people have nothing to hide inside their homes.
Wow. Okay, if you are an honest person, you have nothing to hide. Fair enough, kind of agree. But at the same time, are you not worried about... perverts looking in your bedroom window? I don't know, like thieves looking into your house to see what you have and what they can come in and take. What else is another reason why you would have your blinds or your curtains shut? Yeah, thieves, perverts, and your dignity as well, like your nakedness. Like, you know, sometimes I like to walk around the house naked. I'm just saying, like, sometimes I do, you know? Sometimes it's very, like, especially these past 2 weeks, It's been incredibly hot, guys. I don't know what it's been like in the Netherlands, but it's been so hot here. I've walked around pretty much naked and nobody wants to see that. So I close my my curtains. But clearly, you guys like to have everything on show, which is interesting. Cool. Or maybe this is not true. Again, guys, let me know in the comment section if everything he's saying is actually factual. You know, I'm not just going to take things at face value. He's an American. He's not actually Dutch. So please fact check and let me know in the comment section below.
Also, the fact that when you open up your windows, you get more light in, and some people say that they feel more connected to the outside world when they open up their windows without curtains.
Okay.
So it might be a shock, but it's a pleasant shock when you come to the Netherlands. If you want to see a doctor in the Netherlands, then you might have to exaggerate that you're almost dying. Well, I'm exaggerating, but not really.
What?
But I was shocked when I first came to this country, and a lot of international friends told me advice. Hey, if you ever need to see a doctor, you need to exaggerate, because the culture here is that people don't go to the doctors for minor things like being sick with a cold, a flu, a fever. They go to the doctors for big things. And that's very different compared to a place.
Well, yeah, it's kind of the same in the UK. You don't go to the doctors for like colds and flus and stuff. To be honest, you could just go to the pharmacy. And sometimes the pharmacy kind of acts like a doctor because they'll be like, oh, what's happening? Okay, you need this. And then you can get like, you only go to the doctor if you need like a prescription. I don't know how it works in the Netherlands, but yeah. I think we have that in common. Brits are the same. We don't go to the doctor enough. We don't go to the doctor unless it's something really necessary. And if it's an emergency, we go to A&E, the emergency room. So
like the US, where people go for annual checkups. They go to see the doctor because they're sick. But here, you go to the doctors for big things. If it's something minor, the doctor will tell you, go take some paracetamol, feel better, and set you off. And this pissed off a few of my friends because they did actually have quite it wasn't big, but it wasn't minor as well, issues, and the doctors, nurses turned them away. So you really have to exaggerate to get seen here. The other thing is that your GP, your general practitioner, your doctor, pretty much everything goes through your GP. And I learned this the hard way because in my first month here, I was at a...
Before you continues, it sounds like your system is exactly the same as in the UK. Which is not surprising, I guess. We used to be part of the European Union. So I'm pretty sure like our systems, you know, we learn from each other and we have a similar one. Everything goes to the GP and then you get triage, you get referred to a specialist or to a hospital or wherever you need to go to be seen. It's funny we're talking about this right now because I don't know if you can hear, you probably can't hear, but I've got dental problems at the moment. I've been very sick with my teeth. I got fillings done the other day and I think my tooth has cracked, which has led to a bit of an infection. So I'm not feeling very well, but I have an appointment on Thursday to see the dentist. So you see, things are slow. You need appointments, you need to book things in advance. So I think we have that in common. You have to see a GP if you're feeling unwell, sort of thing.
Park, and I got bit by a dog, a pit bull.
Whoa.
And luckily there were some police officers around and they were nice and caring. They told me to go next door to the hospital to get a tetanus shot. So I go to the hospital and I tried to get a tetanus shot, but the nurse turned me down because the bite wasn't big enough and told me to go to my GP. Unfortunately, at that time, I did not have a GP. That was my fault. But the nurse started like scolding me like, oh, why don't you have a GP? You should have a GP. And I was just shocked because, well, I was shocked because of the dog bite. And then the second thing was that I couldn't get treated, and she was scolding me at the same time. And yes, I know it was my fault, but I was just extremely shocked at that point in time.
Did you go to the hospital? Because surely if you go to the hospital and if you go to accident and emergency and you're being bit by a dog, surely, I don't know, unless the dog didn't pierce his skin, surely they would give you a tetanus shot and clean the wound. No? I'm pretty sure that's what they have to do. I don't know. Maybe he just had a nurse that was just, she didn't know her job. I don't know. That must be a common thing throughout all healthcare professionals all around the world. If you get bit by a dog, you get a tetanus shot. You go to accident emergency, and they should do it there.
So lesson learned, everything goes through your GP. Register for a GP when you first arrive. And
Not if it's an emergency. If it's an emergency, you go to the emergency room. But then for everything else, yes, you go for your GP. He's not learned. He's an American. He doesn't understand the system.
two, if you want to get seen by a doctor, then you really have to exaggerate what you have. If you need to pee and you're in Amsterdam and you don't want to pay to use a toilet, well, you're in luck because there are these public urinals in Amsterdam on busy streets.
Oh my God. And it has like little vents as well. You can see the person's face. That's a bit weird. I'm glad that's kind of covered. They have these in London actually. London have these public urinals that you can just pee in, which I think are really great. So this is not a shocker per se for me, because in London they have them. Not from the city where I'm from in the UK. We don't have these public urinals that are free. No, we don't.
On the canals, and they're free.
This is a urinal and it's illuminated. It's like the most futuristic thing I've seen in this whole place. It's just you go and you just pee in it for free.
And it's part weird, but also part convenient as well, because
Very
sometimes
convenient.
you just need to go. And there's actually an app to track all these urinals in Amsterdam as well. They're very
So you have loads of them. That's perfect. It's perfect for men. I don't know what women do then. Like, that's kind of not fair. If men have all these urinals that we can pee in, then women, where do you pee? Like, I hope they have the same systems. Like, yeah, I don't know.
convenient. And what's weird is that, yeah, you just pee and you see the piss splattering on the ground. And what's even weirder is that there are these quadruple urinals. So 4 of them side by side, and you're just peeing next to 3 other guys on a public street while people are shopping around you. And so,
Wow.
yeah. I love my coffee, but here's a quick tip. If you're in the Netherlands and you're looking for a coffee shop, don't ask for a coffee shop. That means something completely different here. That's a lesson that I learned.
But it's annoying though, because if you call it a coffee shop for cannabis, then, because I love coffee, the drink, I love coffee, guys, and I love a cafe. Cafe, is that what you call it? Do you call it a cafe and not a coffee shop? If you ask for a coffee shop, that means cannabis. Does cafe mean coffee shop? Because when I go to the Netherlands, I don't think I'm going to be partaking in the old, I don't do that. So, yeah, but I do drink coffee, so.
Coffee shops here are weed, cannabis, and marijuana shops. If you're looking for coffee, look for a cafe.
You can get coffee at a coffee shop.
Well, that's
okay.
it for me when it comes to culture shocks. Yes, I could talk about many more. But the thing about culture shocks is that there might not be a right or a wrong answer. It's just different because we come from a different culture, a different country. And that's the beauty of it, right? When you move abroad, you live abroad, you study abroad. And there are some
Trust me, if you've never lived abroad, culture shocks are definitely real.
things that you might get used to, some things that you will never get used to, and that's okay. Anyways, let me know what culture shocks you've experienced coming to the Netherlands.
I haven't been, so I don't know. The first one, he started really very back to front. This racism one should have been at the end because it was the most climaxy one. I don't know, weird. That for me is the most interesting. The Pete festival with the blackface and the red lips and the curly hair. As a black person, clearly it's the one that's the most interesting to me. But as I've got older, when you're younger, I think you're more like, you jump on these kind of like, this racism and blah, 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 without actually thinking. Now as an older adult, I really come into this, and someone who's lived in Thailand and lived in a different culture, I try and approach these things without judgment. because I know nothing about that festival. Clearly, it seems like a festival that makes you guys happy. It's for children. You enjoy dressing up. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm gonna reserve judgment until I do watch the video and learn about it properly in December. But that was probably the most interesting one, and maybe the flaws. The fact that you guys have flats and houses that don't have floors, and then you install them and take them with you. That is a bit weird. But you must admit, guys, that's a bit weird. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Did you subscribe when I said at the beginning subscribe? Press the button. Press the button. I'm under the weather as well. I'm not feeling very well today because of my teeth. And I'm still starting to get a bit of like a fever. I'm really hot and I'm sweating. So just subscribe just for that. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Until the next one, I will see you very soon.